Hello, my name is Paul Ames and I'm here to talk about the Panasonic Leica DG Vario-Elmarit 8-18 f2.8-4 micro 4/3 lens. From this point on, I shall now refer to the lens as the 8-18 for brevity's sake. It was introduced as part of Panasonic's Leica branded f2.8-4 lens range in April 2017. And my first impression on opening the box was that it was a quality bit of kit. It feels very nice in the hand with a cool metallic feel and satisfying density. The bulbous front element is well recessed, and combined with the excellent locking lens hood, it means that it is protected from stray light and from being physically damaged. The lens barrel has two ring controls, the front being for focus and the rear for zoom. There is also a switch for selecting auto or manual focus. The focusing ring is of the fly-by-wire variety that twiddles endlessly. I do wish Panasonic here would take a cue from Olympus and put on their higher end lenses the clutch mechanism that allows you to focus manually with hard stops. The zoom ring is nicely damped and travels in a very smooth 90-degree rotation. Both zoom and focus are internal, which is very nice, as this means it doesn't affect the centre of balance of the lens while using a gimbal. The lens body is finished in a smooth black satin with the engravings done in the Leica font and colours. The lens mount is metal and looks to be chrome plated brass, so full marks here to Panasonic for presentation. The vital statistics of the lens are as follows. The angle of view is 62 to 107 degrees. The maximum aperture is f2.8-4. The minimum aperture is f22. The filter size is a very reasonable 67mm. There is no optical stabilisation. There is internal focusing and an internal zoom. Its minimum focusing distance is a very respectable 23 centimetres with a maximum magnification of 0.12. The number of lens elements is 15 in 10 lens groups. The lens weighs 315 grams, is 88mm long and 73.4mm in diameter. So coming back to the lens construction, as I said, 15 elements in 10 groups with one aspherical extra low dispersion element, two extra low dispersion elements and one ultra high refractive index element. Combined with the nano coatings, they should reduce internal flare, distortion and chromatic aberration. Now, control of distortion and chromatic aberration is also aided by an internal software profile that is baked into the image file. Now, a lot of people don't like this approach as they feel corrections should be made optically. The main criticism here is that there is too much of image quality hit in the corners with this approach. Well, Hasselblad was the first manufacturer to take this approach with their H3 camera, and when that was introduced there were few complaints about image quality. The reality is that using lens profiles means lenses can be cheaper, smaller and lighter than their optically optimized brethren. The lens has a variable aperture. At 9mm it is already f3.1, at 10mm it's f3.2, at 12mm it's f3.4, 14mm it's f3.6 and at 18mm it's f4. So what does all this mean in terms of image quality? Well, I've done my standard test to look for distortion and chromatic aberrations, and the sharpness at 8mm, 12mm and 18mm to give an indication of how the lens does throughout its zoom range. And I have, just for interest's sake, posted images with no profile correction to give you an idea of what the lens is actually doing without the software modification. At 8mm, without any inbuilt lens profiles applied, there is a very, very obvious barrel distortion and vignetting at f2.8. With the profile applied, there is still slight barrel distortion that's visible, and the vignetting remains until f5.6. In terms of sharpness, well, at f2.8 the centre of the image is nicely sharp and contrasty, and it remains so until f16, when diffraction kicks in and the image softens slightly. In the corners the story is different. At f2.8 the corners are significantly softer and less contrasty than the centre. They improve a little as you stop down, reaching best performance at f5.6, and then things get worse again at f16 with diffraction. A small amount of chromatic aberration is present throughout the aperture range and is easily corrected in post. At 12mm we can see no distortion when the lens profile is applied, and the vignetting is about half a stop and barely discernible. Wide open at f3.4 the centre of the image is sharp and contrasty, and the best performance is again at f5.6. In the corners the image is softer and has less contrast than the centre. The best performance is at f8, and the image starts to soften again at f11. At 18mm there is some pincushion distortion in the profile corrected image. There is also a tiny little bit of vignetting at f4, but this clears up at f5.6. Sharpness at f4 is very good in the centre throughout the aperture range, only deteriorating at f16 due to diffraction. The corners are remarkably sharp at f4, but have slightly less contrast than the centre. Peak performance sets in at f5.6, and then again diffraction rears its ugly head at f16 and spoils the party. Chromatic aberration is very, very well controlled across the whole range and is very slight. Like most wide-angle zooms, the 8-18 is prone to flare. In order to reduce this, the engineers recessed the front element and then provided a very decent lens hood. The Panasonic 7-14 f4 caused purple blobs on Olympus cameras when there was a specular light source in the frame. Some people pointed the finger at the difference in UV coatings between the Panasonic and Olympus cameras. Others said the thickness of the Olympus sensor stack caused the problem. Anyway, the 8-18 is thankfully free of those artifacts. Saying that, shooting into the sun, there is some veiling flare and ghosting to be seen. Okay, I've had the lens a year now, and I've used it for stills, time-lapses and video, shooting on the EM1 and the G85. So what can I say? Well, the in-camera lens profiles make a huge difference in terms of distortion, but most people won't see this as they'll only see the corrected images. I did expect this to have some impact on sharpness in the corners, but was pleasantly surprised to find that was not the case at all. Most zooms perform best at the short end and become softer at the long end. With my copy of the 8-18, and remember this is a sample of just one lens, was that the lens is very good at the long end and it is a little softer at the short end. The ability to use filters is a boon for landscape photography and video. The 67mm filter size does not make filter purchases onerous, and with the wide angle filter holder you can use the Kokin P filter system with rectangular filters with an 84mm width. It is really, really nice not to use filters the size of dinner plates with this lens. In terms of the quality of its construction, I've been caught in a couple of rather heavy downpours while using the lens and have had no problems with it at all. I've found the lens immensely satisfying to use and have put it to more uses than I originally thought I would. In all, I feel it is a very good lens if you can live without a fixed aperture. I would definitely recommend it. Thank you for watching. I hope you found this of some use. Over the next few weeks I will be putting more videos up, so please subscribe. It doesn't cost you anything. I don't do affiliate links and I'm not beholden to anybody when I put these things up. So again, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again in the next video.